Hi everybody, welcome to the next SciCraft episode. So today I want to give a brief update of our Tunnelbore operation. Good news first, we drove the Tunnelbore for about 6,000 blocks now. And we also have some issues with it, but first issue was just some human error. Rego didn't pay attention and the front part blew up again once more. The issue was that he had some trouble stopping the whole machinery, and then there was some blocks that were covered by the liquids, and you've got to remove them all, so the blocks. Then we just had some stone here at foot height, which stopped the machine basically and blew it up. But yeah, we can easily rebuild it again, but now I've done it a few times, so that shouldn't be much of a problem. Also, minor update, in the last episode I showed that you might be able to use trapdoors at the top. Turns out that doesn't work. In the end, there was also a block remaining behind, which was a problem after a few hundred blocks. Really unlikely, but could happen. That's why I went back to the slabs, which are probably 100% fine. Drove it for about 3,000 blocks afterwards again with the slabs, and yeah, it still works. Alright, but now the bigger issue, that's something we didn't consider before. It's actually the frosted ice in the back is causing a lot of trouble. So we have a lot of chunk loading issues because of the frosted ice. So what happens is, frosted ice checks every 20 to 40 ticks around itself for other frosted ice blocks. So in all four cardinal directions and also on top and bottom of it. And this could load the next chunk, basically. Also, it schedules that random amount of ticks between 20 and 40. And this actually, causes a lot of chunk loading issues. So at the moment, I think pretty much the whole 5,000 block long frosted ice path is loaded. I can also show that with the help of the carpet mod. So if we do the unload command, then we get a report which chunks are artificially loaded. And here you can see the whole list. So the set value is always the same basically. And it's also, you can see the chunks on the border. So we had that 9,511 chunk. If you look at this, so this is the chunk next to the frosted ice. Because the frosted ice also updates the blocks in the next chunk and that keeps them loaded. Just by the search for the blocks around the frosted ice. So we're having big issues now with the frosted ice. Because even if we would move away from this, then it would still be loaded. The only way to unload this is to completely unload the overworld. You could do that by, for example, going to the Nether, and we would need to unhook the little 14-second clock at spawn that shoots an item through the portal. And then you could completely unload the overworld dimension and also get rid of those chunks. Luckily, we only built this on a chunk border here, so we could maybe ignore the whole thing. So if we would build the redstone dust line that turns the sand tube on and off in the chunk next to it, so maybe on top of this stone walkway here, then we would never load the frosted ice in the next chunk. And then at least we wouldn't have any big issues with it, which would just activate it from spawn. Then we at least wouldn't load the frosted ice. But going here once is already causing a lot of trouble. I'm not entirely sure what to do now about the frosted ice. On one hand, I really like the idea of this whole machine, but frosted ice is just a nasty block in general and causes a lot of trouble. Similar to the fire block in the Nether, which causes a lot of chunk loading issues. So I really like that you can travel that fast and you can generate it automatically, but at least on a multiplayer server, it causes a lot of issues. Now, we're not entirely sure what to do now with this issue that the frosted ice creates. I could think about two options. The first one would be to remove all the frosted ice on the chunk borders so that we at least don't load additional chunks. But this is the issue here. We built this part on a chunk border, which always loads the chunks next to it. And this could probably load more than 100 chunks each tick, and we would create the perma loader. If you would have built it a little bit to the left, then it might have worked if you would have only removed the ice blocks here on the chunk border and completely avoid the issues. But I'm quite sure that if we build it on here on the border is causing most of the trouble. Now we could also get rid of the complete thing, and this would require a flying machine pretty much. So frosted ice melts immediately if there's no other ice block around it. So what we could do here is to push those pistons here to the left and right, so I mean the boundary ice blocks here, and then it would melt immediately. And then afterwards we could just use another flying machine in order just to remove the water sources. Then we will have just 5 blocks here in the middle left. Here we could do the same, push the ice blocks down so they're not surrounded by any other frosted ice, and it would melt immediately. Then get another flying machine that sweeps away the water. In this way we could completely remove the frosted ice again. We could probably also try to mine it, but quite sure using a flying machine is less effort, and it shouldn't be too hard to design. So what I'm probably gonna do is go to a creative world and maybe try to make a frosted ice way, no frosted ice on the chunk borders, to see if this maybe fixes it. Alright, but I'm also a bit burned out on this project. I really want to work on something else next, so I probably will do this in an upcoming episode. And there's also a lot of work left to do here still. To build the TNT duper, then we need to dig out a 5x5 around the end portal in order to build the dragon egg duper itself. So there's a lot of work here still left to do, and I just want to work on something else. And the project I want to work on is a general overworld mob farm. So just to get some bones mainly, and also gunpowder and rotten flesh. And some witch drops. We had one here at spawn over there in 1.8. This is actually the last mob farm we built, but it was already broken in 1.9, so quite a long time ago, and we're running really low on bones. So the project I was working on before with the dragon egg duper and the Tunnelbore was actually lead up to building another mob farm somewhere else. But it seems like that's still months away from even being started. So instead of just trying to build the other farm as quickly as possible, why not build a small mob farm somewhere else that isn't totally efficient, and something you could also build in a single player world, for example. So not an insane SciCraft project, just something quick, so we have some bones for now in case we would run out soon. Alright, I also actually really want to build a new mob farm or make a new design, because we recently discovered something new. So I already showed this in a video. Building a mob farm in a desert biome makes a lot of sense because of the special zombie spawning, the husk spawning in there. That doesn't happen if there's no natural skylight or skylight 15 at the spawning space. And that has an effect. You get fewer zombies spawning in total, and the amount of creepers and skeletons you get is much higher because of this. So I explained it a bit more detail and better in the separate video, which I've already shown on my channel a while ago. If you don't know about that one yet, I would recommend it to check it out. You can find it in the video description. But anyway, so building a mob farm in a desert makes a lot of sense, since you can get more of the useful drops like bones and gunpowder. So I'm on my way over to a desert biome, which has very little river biomes in between, and I'm hoping we can find maybe a 60 by 60 area that only has desert in it and no rivers. So it's supposed to be at 2.5k minus x 200 set. So in that area. Okay, so here's a river. But this looks good. Already scouted this area on the midst, and we can definitely build a 60 by 60 mob farm in here. So perfect. I don't have a design yet because I want to try something new. Maybe we should show this in a creative world first. Ah, I found it. So this was actually the showcase world where I showed the mob farm in a desert biome and why it's beneficial to build a mob farm there. Alright, so this was a shifting floor design. I want to use something quite similar for the new mob farm, but a little bit different. So here I used a clock-based design. That means every single spawning spot is cleared every 5 seconds. So we need to activate the whole shifting floors every 5 seconds. You see the mobs fall through. The idea is that the mobs spawn on either soul sand or normal blocks. Soul sand is slightly lower than the normal blocks, and that causes the mobs to glitch inside of the normal blocks with their toes, and then they fall through because they're pushed against the trapdoors. Now, the advantage of having a clock system is that I can have trapdoors at the bottom layer as well, in comparison with a detection-based system. So you could also detect the mobs with a string, the bottom layer or top layer, and then shift the floors over. But the detection system has the disadvantage that it wouldn't work with baby zombies. So if you would have the string at the bottom layer, then we can't place trapdoors as well, so the baby zombies wouldn't get glitched through. If we place the string on top, then we can't detect the baby zombies. And the disadvantage of having baby zombies in a mob farm that don't get cleared is that they would over time build up. Obviously they also can despawn after a while, but yeah, they spawn quite frequently. So instead of using, I don't know, the available mob cap of 70 for all mobs to spawn, you probably always have 15 baby zombies in a mob farm. They would occupy spaces of the mob cap. But in a desert biome this wouldn't be as big of a problem as in a different biome, because you only get 20% mob spawning. That's the whole advantage of building a mob farm in a desert biome. And also the effect of the baby zombies would be much lower if you would build a detection-based farm in a desert biome. So it's actually feasible to make a detection-based farm in a desert biome. And the advantage of the detection farm would be that it kills the mobs quicker. So we would get even more drops per hour, and it would be lag friendlier since you only need to activate the floors where the mobs actually spawn. Detection-based shifting floor farms were actually really popular in 1.8 and lower before the normal shifting floor farms were fixed. So previously it was enough to just have normal blocks that got shifted back and forth to glitch the mob through. And now you need the soul sand, normal block, and trapdoor combination in order to do that. So it got a bit more complicated. But yeah, I'm looking forward to building detection-based mob farm again. Alright, so there's gonna be a lot of fun to make one of those shifting floor mob farms again. So I already started a little bit. This should be the basic layout. First of all, I had to make the decision to have the strings at foot level or at waist level. And I decided for the waist level option, since the trapdoors here at foot level would also prevent a spider spawning. So that's something I want to have. I don't want to deal with spiders. If I would need to deal with spiders, I would need to put cobble wall additionally or fences in the spawning platforms in order to prevent that. But you can already use the trapdoors for that. The second advantage is, if there should be some baby zombies spawning, then there's at least a chance they would be taken out by other mobs spawning nearby. Disadvantage is, I'm not quite sure if this might become an issue, that mobs that glitch through the top layers might land on top of the trapdoors, so we have to keep an eye on that. Hope this isn't the case, but we'll probably see this once we try it out. And I think I also remember the basic design again. So we needed a clock for the whole shifting floor for each slice. So what could happen is, so we activate the string because mob spawns, then we need to shift the floor over and back, but meanwhile another mob could spawn, and that's why a single pulse activating the whole thing wouldn't work. That's why we need to add a clock additionally. Alright, I think this was done mostly by using hoppers. So you could have a sticky piston here below, and then a pair of hoppers, like that, and then here a comparator, pointing into the whole thing. So let's just need to put in an item in here. And once we activate the tripwire, then this starts pulsing. Okay, and we also need to work on the other end. Now you could do the same, also build a hopper pair on the other side, and just add a delay of, I don't know, 4 ticks probably, before you push over the redstone block on the other side, and then you would synchronize it with this side. But might be a way to do this simpler. I was thinking we maybe could replace one of those blocks with an observer, and if we would have a sticky piston below that piston, that would grab another observer, that would get pulled towards that piston. We could use it actually. Okay, maybe let's quick update here. Yeah, it's getting pushed back. Okay. A second. So this should send it back. Alright. I'm curious if this timing would work now for the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. Here we have our shifting floor with clock. So this keeps shifting until the mobs are cleared. Unfortunately, I'm seeing this isn't really stackable 3 high, because the next piston is already here, and then I can't put the sticky piston below. Unless I would move this 1 block higher and have the sticky piston here, then this would work. This would also have the advantage that we could put another trapdoor above the string. So like that. In order to guide the mobs a little bit. Yeah, that's an option. But obviously it has a disadvantage that we have a layer only every 4th block instead of every 3rd. Yeah, maybe let's try this out. And we can also maybe try to come up with something better afterwards. Oh, now I also remember some of the issues that shifting floor farmers had. So for example, if you have 2 sides that are unsynchronized like that, then a creeper would never glitch through because it stands partially on both floors. So it would only glitch through if he completely stands... Whoops, I glitched through on one. Yeah, like this. This could be an issue. What I already did is, if you activate one of the slices, then you also activate the neighbors. It's kind of important. So if you have a mob that maybe falls down from the top layer, it's pushed over a little bit and lands, yeah, in between 2 slices, then you will also make sure that it gets shifted through. But obviously, if you're really unlucky, then something like this could happen. Then here comes the next one, and then we have the issues again. But it's really unlikely. Not sure how much of a problem it would be. And there's another issue, the bug with the trapdoors in 1.12. Quite sure this is already fixed in 1.13, but for some reason they activate despite not being, yeah, Redstone updated or powered or anything. I also made a video about that already. This is fixed in 1.13, but we still need to deal with it in 1.12. The fun of making a shifting floor mob farm is pretty much gone already again because of this bug here of the trapdoors. Can't fix it, just how it is. You can maybe just use a few spawning spaces, so only 10 instead of 12 per slice. Then we don't have this issue. At least there's a fix for one of the spots. We could put redstone blocks here, which would keep those trapdoors powered. They would still close because of the bug, but at least we would open them again. Unfortunately, this doesn't work because we can't place we can place them on top of pistons, but they would pop afterwards. If you could do that as well, that would be quite nice, but yeah. Comparator gets broken immediately. So it seems like we need to get rid of that spawning space and yeah. Just have 11 spawning spaces per slice. But it's good enough. Oh no, really? On the other side as well? Oh god, no. At the moment, I really don't know how to deal with this issue in a satisfying way. Obviously, updating in 1.13 would fix it, but there's a lot of issues with that. So in between episodes, I'll try to come up with a workaround for this. Thanks a lot for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.